Peace, 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 everybody. See if I get some people in here. Haven't talked to y'all in a minute. It's at least going live. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope you're out there prosperous. Hope you're out there prospering. Hope your friends and your family are doing well. And I hope life is treating you well. It's a very interesting time that we are in right now. Very, very interesting time that we're in. And the time that we're in, it's really about us tapping into who and what we truly are. Let's look at the events that recently happened, right? We recently had this earthquake in Haiti. This earthquake in Haiti, though, is tied to the same day of the Haitian liberation or the Haitian Revolution in 1871. So, what does that mean? What does that mean for us here, right? If we're going through a revolution of sorts on our own. If the earthquake occurred as above, so below. So, we have to look at the spiritual meaning of this earthquake. Big up Soul Matters. We have to look at the spiritual meaning of this earthquake and realize that if this happened on the day of a revolution, then this means that there's a revolution as an awakening within us. There's all sorts of forces that are working and conspiring to grab our attention. We have these issues with the Taliban, right? Running wild in Afghanistan. We have this issue with the young boy Amin Ra being taken from his parents. That's been circulating, where he's basically been taken. The hospital took this child from his black parents. The black parents look holistic, wearing dreads and things like that, and they took the child, right? We have these floods all over the place. We have a water shortage out west. There's a water shortage out west, right? There's a possible water shortage that is going to continue. Possible food shortage that they're talking about. We have all these mandates, right? These mandates where they're restricting people from indoor venues, from clubs, from gyms, right? What have you. So it's time for change. The world is changing. What's 2019 is no longer. We're in a new age, we're in a new day, and the one thing that will save us is us tapping into our creativity. Our creativity is one of the greatest tools of liberation, of revolution, of transformation that we have. Us tapping into our creativity is the main is the main driver of our godhood. God ultimately is a creator. When you talk about the birds, the bees, the trees, right? Us. When we're talking about new things coming into existence, technology. We're in the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius is all about technology. We're about to have another full moon in Aquarius. It's all about technology. It's all about creativity. Age of Aquarius is all about new ideas. But it's also about individuality. As we watch the world turn, and we watch all these different news events happen, and we watch all these events happen in life in general, we have to ask ourselves, what is our connection? How are we connected to these things? And if there is a connection, what effect does this connection have to me? What effect does me being connected to this news story have to me? Is it just entertainment, right? Is it just something to occupy my time? Or am I learning something in the process? Now, this is not to say, for instance, if I'm watching a basketball game or a football game, right, I don't really hope to learn anything from that, right? I understand it's just a game. If I am tuned into, a comedy or something, my only reason for being there is to laugh, right? So everything has its purpose, everything has its form, everything has its function. But most of my time, right? Most of the energy, this is what we have to ask ourselves. Most of the energy that we're putting into the water shortage, that we're putting into the earthquake and praying to Haiti, that we're putting into the Taliban and Afghanistan, that we're putting into Little Nas X, that we're putting into Lizzo and Cardi B, right? The energy that we're putting into these things and the attention that we give these things, what effect does this have on us? What effect does it have on you? Is it information that is really pushing you towards becoming your better self, or is it information that is scaring you? Because creativity doesn't live in fear. Creativity does not live in fear. Creativity lives in fearlessness. When you're fearless, you're able to create things that don't even exist when you're in the worst possible situation. When you're in the worst possible situation, that's where creativity is formed. Look at something like hip hop, right? Hip hop was formed in the Bronx when the buildings were dilapidated, when there were fires all over the place, when people were in abject poverty. That's when hip hop was formed. One of the highest forms of creativity, a music genre that runs the world, was created in abject poverty, despair, and hopelessness. So what do we have now? We have programs being run in the matrix that are designed to make you fearful. Whether you have the job or don't have the job, it really doesn't matter at this point. If you have the job, there's some tools that can help you. Some tools that can help you if you have the job. Get out in the sunlight. Remember, this universe is first and foremost mental, right? And Spirit reminded me of that the other day. This universe is mental, first and foremost. We live out of a menta, what the Cometians call the menta, which is basically the unseen. And we know that the unseen rules the scene because we don't see what's going on in our body, yet we have homeostasis, yet we're able to breathe, yet we're able to speak, we're able to articulate sentences. All these things are unseen. We don't see how these processes happen, right? But they're translated into this 3D world. They're transferred, our thoughts are transferred into this 3D world, but we don't see where they come from. We don't see our heartbeat right now. So when the times look the bleakest, when the world looks like it's going to complete and utter destruction, this is when your spirituality is tested. The Heru principle of Kemet is after the law of attraction. So the law of attraction principle is classified in the Cometian tree of life through two deities. One deity named Sebek, which is basically, if you saw the series Loki, the crocodile-headed god, right? The crocodile-headed deity would symbolize Sebek, because Sebek is about words. So it's about your speech, right? Your logic, your reasoning, right? We know there's words like white supremacy, right? And white privilege, right? And all sorts of sorcery with the word white to make white seem like it's better, much more pure, right? This is verbal sorcery, right? Because if you're saying white supremacy, you're basically affirming whites being supreme. Say white privilege, you're basically affirming that whites are privileged, right? This is something that was given to you, right? This is something that was spoke to you, and then it was parroted and repeated. And it's been repeated so much that it's become a mantra. That mantra has become a spell. We don't realize it, but by saying these things, we're actually, everything that we say is an affirmation. Everything we say has energy. Words have meaning. Words have power. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. So everything we say has power. So when we affirm certain things, we have to really, really, really be careful. And the magic of us, so that's Sebek, right? Sebek is the words. That's primarily the left brain. Then we have the right brain, which deals with our imagination, which deals with our visions, which deals with our visualization, which deals with the holistic aspect. So I could say the left brain deals with words like water, trees, um, sand, right? And the right brain deals with a beach, right? Or deals with a forest. So it puts everything together in one. So your holistic parts of your brain come from the right brain. So the law of attraction is basically you affirming with the left brain. You're using that verbal, that sabek, that crocodile aspect, right? Your speech aspect of affirming yourself, right? So you can have the reasoning ability using your words, and have the logical ability using your words, and have the speech patterns, right, emanating from the left brain, and then you have the visions of your right brain, whatever that is. So this is why I like deity, working with deities, using mandalas, having your home have representations of deity, or have representations of your higher self, vision boards, right? Things that represent your higher self. These are the laws of attraction, right? So that is on the side of what you call Oshun, what Commissions call Het Heru. That's the other side. That's the right brain side, dealing with the visualizations and things like that. Hopefully you follow me so far. So that's the law of attraction, but it is still lower on the Commission tree of life, right? You can look at the Kabbalah and look at those bottom three spheres as well. But then you go up to the highest sphere, which would be Heru. And Heru is the hero. The hours of our day, the 24 hours of our day, correspond to Heru, right? 4 plus 2 equals 6. So 6 is Heru's on the sixth sphere of the tree of life. Now, when you're dealing with Heru, right, the law of attraction states that anyone could partake in the law of attraction. We partake in the law of attraction every day. And it's going to tie into creativity, right? But we partake in the law of attraction every day. So every day that we are out in this world, what we think and what we visualize is what is magnetized to us. As I always state, we're electromagnetic beings. You have an electric core with your heart. It beats, it gives off a frequency. That frequency, therefore, brings things to you, right? Everything, your brain has what? Magnetite crystals. Everything in existence that is breathing and that is alive, that is organic, right? Has these, well, animals and things like that, right? Not trees or whatever, but has these things with brains, have these magnetite crystals. So we are all connected to the earth, right? Now, when we're dealing with willpower, right? We are essentially controlling the flow of our energy. We're controlling where we put our energy. We're controlling what we do with our energy. We're controlling that frequency, that heartbeat, the waves that we are bringing forth from ourselves, that we are emanating from our aura, that we are emanating from our subconscious to conscious mind, right? And really, everything exists in the subconscious mind, right? Including this physical body, this tangible body that we're in, right? Because we're breathing air that we can't see again. So we're dealing with things that are by in essence invisible, that are in essence intangible, right? But we could feel it. We could feel the effects, just like we could feel when we're around someone that's negative, that's not good for us, just like we could feel if a situation isn't right, what we call intuition, right? These are things that are unseen again. So directing the flow of energy is what separates humans from those that wish to achieve godhood. The regulation of where we choose to put our energy. So no matter what's going on in the world, remember last year was just Black Lives Matter. Everybody was mad because of George Floyd. Everybody thought there was going to be a race war. Where's the race war? I don't see it, right? We have to remember, as a collective, we control what we put out here into the universe. As a collective, we control what reality is. If there is a mandate, and we all say we're not going inside your restaurants. Okay, we're not going inside your gyms. All right, we're not going inside your venues. What would it do? It would cripple the market. It would cripple the market. You would be forced to change things. And this doesn't matter whether you got the vax or you don't have the vax. This is about you being able to direct the flow of your energy, you being a superhero, you being a superhero, right? And the supervillains are obviously out here. Bill Gates has a book called How to Lie with Statistics, written by Bill Gates. Look it up. How to Lie with Statistics. So if you're still believing in Bill Gates and you think he is some sort of savior, you think he's some sort of scientific messiah, what you're really looking at is Lex Luthor, Superman and Superwoman that you are. You're looking at Lex Luthor. That's what Bill Gates is. And once you are able to put him into that box that I'm putting him in, right? Because the Freemasons, they use boxes too, right? Look at your artists. They're using checkerboards and chess boxes, black and white boxes, right? But the box that I choose to put him in is that of Lex Luthor. You cannot trust anything that you see on mainstream media. You cannot trust a lot of what you see on social media. The age of Aquarius is the age where you truly know thyself and you truly trust thyself. And the first step is to love yourself. Heru is the child that sits on the breast of Orset. Heru is the child, what you call Isis and or Horus, right? Heru sits at the breast of Orset. And Heru is the child, the inner child. The inner child, your inner child is not worried about a mandate. Your inner child is not worried about a water or a food shortage. Your inner child is not worried about earthquakes and things like that. Your inner child is nursing at the breast of Orset, which is basically nursing at your inner self. Those of you who know the tarot know about the High Priestess card. That's dealing with your inner wisdom, the subconscious mind, as you call it, the parasympathetic nervous system that is tapping into all your bodily functions right now, pumping the blood through your veins, having your white blood cells and red blood cells fight off infection, dealing with all the microbes that are crawling on your skin right now that you can't feel or see, regulating your breath. This is the part of you that this is the magic that of you. This is the part of you that is connected to all things. When you breathe in and you breathe out, that has no race, that has no color, that has no creed, that has no social hierarchy, that has no class. That is who and what you truly are. That is who and what we all truly are. So if as a collective, we choose to create our reality, then this is not to say that we are unaware of what's happening. This is not to say that we are numb to what's happening to people. Pray for those in Haiti, pray for those in Afghanistan, and, rest in peace to those that we have lost. Honor to their ancestors and, and all that. And we could have sympathy, we can empathize, but we also have to channel that energy towards what's going on in our individual lives, to what's going on our day-to-day lives, to how can we prepare if we see these things coming. Then you being childlike, you nursing at the breast of Orset, you nursing at the breast of your intuition, you nursing at the breast of your inner child, what you're going to do is you're going to be preparing. We understand, hopefully you understand that this whole thing, this whole vax is the mark of the beast. They're talking about restricting people from going to the supermarkets, right? Now, today, they just passed in New York that you can't go to the museum without the vax. Now, these restrictions uncomfortable? Sure they are, Or is there a way around them? Sure there is. Am I going to talk about them on social media? Of course not. But you and I know, those of you who are from the inner cities of America, know that there's a way around everything. And if you are creative enough And if you are plugged into that inner goddess, that Amenta, right? That Akasha. Notice all these things have an A. They're all feminine. If we're tapped into these things, that we will be prepared. We will be able to prepare our families. We will be able to prepare our loved ones. There's farmers markets. There's different jobs. There's the internet where you could go on here and sell damn near anything. There's your cities. There's your street corners. We always talk about how we built pyramids. We always talk about how we built great societies like Nubia. We always talk about how great West Africa was. We always talk about Hannibal and him climbing over, climbing the Alps with elephants to conquer Rome. We talk about all these great scholars that we have. Rest in peace to Renuka Rashidi, one of our great preeminent melanated scholars. But where's that come in when in times of crisis? Times of crisis is when we usually show our best selves. We fought in these civil wars in America. We fought in wars with other countries. We've joined their armies, their militaries, those of us that are melanated. Even those of you who are poor white, we've joined in these things. And what do we get for it in return? They don't even take care of their veterans right. So how do we stand up for ourselves? How do we maintain in a world that seems to be going crazy, in a hurricane and in a tornado? We stay in the eye of the storm. Stay in the eye of the storm. You don't overly attach yourself to things that are not going to help you move forward in this new world. Things that are not going to keep you childlike. Things that are not going to keep you fed at the breast of Osset. Things that are not going to give you that intuition, that premonition. Things that are not going to turn on your magic. That are not going to turn you closer to source energy. And are not going to turn you closer to your divinity. Now is the time when you tap into your spirit team. Now is the time when you tap into those orishas. Now is the time when you tap into your ancestors and you get guidance. Now is not the time for fear. Now is the time for creativity. Now is the time for playfulness. Now is the time for joy. In spite of what you may see in the world, because you create your reality. Your reality is created via you are what you eat. So what you take in, not only physically in regards to food, but you are what you eat in regards to the food for thought you take in regards to the food that you see with your eyes, the food that you give your ears, your food for thought. Your left and right brain. Your left is controlled by your verbal. The right is controlled by imagery. So that's your food for thought. Those are your horns of a moon, your ram horns, right? Your left and right brain. Those are also your wings. The law of attraction is controlled by the energy that you take in. And the only way we will all be able to make it through what's going on, through these influences, is if we are tapped into source, if we have active rituals, if we are meditating, if we are consulting our divination tools, doing readings, we don't do readings, book readings, working with these moons, working with this sun energy, being out in nature, right? I just gave one of my orphans, I just fed some birds. Came out with some bread, just fed some birds, as a way of giving back, as an offering. And just seeing how the birds and the squirrels just interacted with each other and gave each other their own space, right? But they were all able to eat. They were all able to eat. with each other. We have to stop looking at this world from a place of despair. We have to stop looking at this world as a place that does not have opportunities. We have to stop looking at this world as a place that does not have growth. We have to live in the now and live in the present moment. And living in the now and living in the present moment means that you have variance and different variables. You have Marvel's What If talking about the multiverse, right? Different opportunities, different ways of looking at things. If you make this decision, how life would happen. If you make that decision, how life would happen. Every day is a series of serious choices. And you have the choice to choose the reality that you want. If you don't like the situation you are in life, you have the opportunity to change it. You have the opportunity to grow. You have the opportunity to develop. And don't let nobody tell you that that's not the case, no matter what situation you've been through. I've been homeless. I've been locked up. I've been in some of the hardest places, in the hardest situations. And thanks to my spirit team, thanks to my ancestors, thanks to the divine that I share with the infinite, I was able to make it. I'm able to survive. I'm able to grow. I'm able to thrive. How was I able to go in corporate America and hit management and all these titles, and I got a whole felony? This is not to say I'm better than anybody. I'm just showing you the opportunity that is out there if you believe. And I'm not just talking about corporate America. I'm talking about just surviving what's going on in the world. You have to keep your optimism. You have to keep that childlike creativity. You have to keep that childlike spirit of joy around you. You have to commit to that. You have to commit to having a positive mindset. One of the best ways is to start in the morning. The first 15 minutes of your day, when your brain is in that theta state, when your brain is in that hypnotic state, you program yourself through words and images. If you need to, you can write it down, right? 5 things that you're grateful for during the day. And then you program yourself with your dreams, your visions, and your goals. If your dream and your vision and your goal is to survive all this, then you will survive all this. No matter what happens, you cannot. Part of this work is to dissolve fear, dissolve worry, dissolve fear, and dissolve worry. That's what the spiritual work is about. And to heal. And the more you heal, the less you worry. The more you heal, the less you worry, because you realize this world is full of infinite possibilities. This is a multiverse. There's multiple choices. There's multiple options. It's whatever you yourself put your energy towards. And that is having that Heru mindset. But you need supervillains. You need these obstacles. As crazy as it sounds, you need these news stories. You need this FUD, this fear, uncertainty, and doubt to be out here. You need obstacles and challenges. Again, hip-hop was born out of one of the worst situations here in the Bronx. Broken down buildings everywhere. Files on the floor, right? Families in distress, shambles, abject poverty. Here comes hip-hop. What will come out of this? The age of Aquarius, right? We at the beginning of the age of Aquarius. So one of the markers of age of Aquarius is technology. So technology will be one of the saving graces of our time. If we look at technology and the parts from technology, right? Parts of the computer, the Kempata, the computer, the Kempata, part of these parts come from the Congo, coltan and cobalt that make up your computer, that make up your smartphone. They come from the Congo. King Leopold, look up what he did to the Congo. How many Africans he slaughtered in the 17 and early 1800s. Those are the bones of your ancestors. Look at the advancements that have been happening since technology has occurred for melanated beings. This is the different kind of the coin to look at. This is the coin that most people don't pay attention to. The fact that melanated beings are rising. Do you know there's less melanated people going to jail now than ever before? Do you know there's more melanated people that are in good relationships and are getting married now than ever before? Do you look at those statistics? Do you look at the advancement from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s till now? And you may say, yeah, it's all an illusion, XYZ. There are some things that are getting worse, and that is true, right? There are. But you, Heru, because Aquarius is about individuality too. This is not about saving everyone. The superhero saves people, right? The superhero does save people, but the superhero's main goal is to master themselves and master their skills, because they know that they're going to continue to have to fight enemies. The X-Men are always in the danger room. The X-Men are always in the danger room training. Even if you watch, what do they call it? Avengers cartoons, right? They're always training. They're always fighting enemies. They're always leveling up their skills, right? And the best way to save someone is to save yourself. The best way to save someone is to be the example. The best way to save someone is to shine your light. The best way to save someone is to be the best version of yourself. Because again, you're electromagnetic. Your magnetism is going to draw people to you that need you. Your light will shine and people will see that you are someone that is worthy of helping them. People trust superheroes in the comics because they deem them worthy. They see that they have powers. They see that they have abilities that they have honed over time. They see that if somebody comes to them, they have boundaries and they can't fuck with the superhero. But the supervillains are necessary to test the superhero's ability and strength. And one of the greatest things about having superpowers is that you're able to be as creative as you want with them. And we all have superpowers. We all have greatness inside us. We all have a connection to the divine. We all have a connection to a mentor. We all have a connection to the divine mother. Man and woman. All right? Women, divinity primarily comes from our wisdom. You know, in ancient Kemet, the scribes, right? The scribes, there would be male scribes and there would be female scribes. The female scribes, they would write about astronomy. They would deal with the precession of the stars. They would make sure that everything was accurate. And the male scribes, they dealt with day-to-day life, like, you know, how they, you know, were building the pyramids, what the kings and queens were doing, right? And this is because a woman is able to, through her intuition, through her natural intuition, and through her estrogen hormone, she's actually able to vibrate to the plane where she could communicate with the ancestral realm much easier than a man. Because a man's focus, because he has an external, even reductive part, the penis, right, is dealing with the external world, the conquering, the hunting, the gathering, and also performing strength, defending the woman, defending the source energy, right? Now, our creativity is channeled through our connection to that source energy, through our connection to that ancestral energy. That's what we're really trying to do, make ourselves the magic. The candles, the crystals, the rituals, right? They're all connected to us. They're all part of you. They're not separate from you. When you're honoring a deity or utilizing a deity or channeling a deity, you're channeling a part of yourself. You're unlocking a part of what you are. There's a connection, not a separation. In Christianity and religion, we're taught separation from deity instead of invoking oneness with deity, becoming deity, living as deity, depending on the situation. There's some situations where you have to act like Offset, or you have to act like Yamaya. There's some situations where you have to act like Ogun, right? Where you have to go Herakuti, where you have to go hard, right? There's different situations for different deities, depending on what you're going through. There's deities for war, there's deities for peace, there's deities for love, like Het Heru or Oshun, right? There's deities for communication. There's crossroad deities to get in the door, like a leg bop, right? And there's crossroads situations, such as your boss at work, such as the family member that doesn't understand why you don't want to take the vax, such as the mandate that might restrict different things in your life, such as, these new different news stories and these different things that want you to get emotionally attached to, that distract you from your own goals and from your own wishes and from your own ideas and from creating your own realities. The internet is called the web for a reason, and you can get stuck to some bullshit, or you can get stuck to some things that are going to help you in this life, stuck to gaining new skills, stuck to finding solutions. Do you know how to clean water? Do you know how to grow your own food? Do you know what herbs and things could help you? If you do have the vax, you can get colloidal silver, you could get liquid gold, atomic ormus, you could get turmeric, you could start drinking chlorophyll, and most importantly, you could start meditating. The universe is mental, and my ancestors and my mind's eye tells me that even if you did get the vax, you could burn that shit out with enough sunlight, with enough spiritual baths, with enough ritual, with the right herbs. You could burn that shit out of you, because nothing is impossible, and nothing is more powerful than you. Now, this is not to say that I'm going to go out and get it because I know this, right? But this is to say that if you do have it, right, don't even that, don't worry yourself, don't stress yourself, live your life, enjoy your life, and make decisions. You have to make the best decisions that are for you and your family at the end of the day. But those of you who are not going to go that route, tap into your creativity, tap into your inner child, the kid who could create toys from paper, the kid who would take, to a Barbie or G.I. Joe and create whole stories and whole scenarios around it, right? And have their whole day mapped out with a Barbie or a G.I. Joe, right? Have wars and marriages, with the Barbie, and wars with the G.I. Joes, or, the play with the Pokemon cards and really think, you're shocking somebody, whatever the case is, right? There's no limits to your imagination. And this is your Superheru, you, that child that is sitting at the breast of Set. This is you tapping into that. This is a test of that. This is a test of your Christ-like center. No matter what the world is going through, it's about you. This is the age of individuality again. This is the age where you have to tap into your own superpowers. You have to learn what your superpowers are. Get an astrological chart read. You can inbox me if you want to do that. Get a reading, right? Understand where you are weak. Study your chakras and strengthen those. You can do that by simply utilizing candles. You can use candle magic for that. Strengthen your chakras. You can go on my Instagram, Rob_Blackstorm. I posted, I think, about that on Saturday. My battery's about to die. But yeah, I want to just talk to y'all real quick. I know I haven't talked to y'all in a minute. I just want to tell y'all to keep your head up. Keep your head up. There's people in the Caribbean fighting for reparations. They just talked about reparations in Australia, right? There's different movements happening. There's a lot of people, the people in France are revolting, people in China are revolting, People in Europe are revolting. There's people all across the world that are revolting against these different mandates, that are revolting against all these different things that are happening. Remember, in closing, all the scriptures, right? From the Hopi prophecy to the Bible, we're in the book of Revelation, right? To Marvel, the Thanos snap that we're living in, right? To the Quran, to the Mayan prophecy, right? All these things predict that in the end we win. That in the end the future is better. That at the end everything gets brighter. So keep your head up. Get your mind right. Study yourself. Learn thyself. Know thyself. Study what triggers you. If something triggers you that you're watching on TV, ask yourself, why does it trigger you? Ask yourself, why are you emotionally invested? When you get that feeling, something bothers you, why are you emotionally invested? Really study yourself practically, right? Not just for some fantastic powers because you want to shoot fireballs out your ass and you want to shoot laser beams on your eyes and you want to disappear, or you want to curse your baby mama or your baby daddy and you want to hex your next door neighbor, right? No, you want to do a money ritual. Not just for that. The money ritual is you. You are the money. People buy into you. Your product or whatever you're selling is an extension of you. When you go to an interview, you're displaying yourself, right? You're selling yourself ultimately. Your skill is part of it, or what you could do, but ultimately you're selling yourself, just on basic corporate America level. So the money is you. You're the money. People are the money, the network of people. Without people buying your services, you're nothing. People are the money. Your connection to people are the money. The way you network to people are the money. The way you market to people is the money. So you're the money. You are the hex. You are the protection spell. How you live, how you treat people, the energy you put out will determine the energy that comes back to you. It's not to say negative events will happen, because again, life is a chaos ultimately. There's all sorts of things that are going to happen. But it's not what happens to you, it's always how you respond to it. It's not what happens to you, it's always how you respond to it. How you respond to the event now determines how you level up magically, how you level up in spiritual powers, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, right? The ability to touch people and feel their energy, the ability to read people's minds, the ability to have precognition, right? The ability to do the supernatural, to get downloads and uploads, the ability to get messages from nature. These things take you going through hardship, unfortunately. These things require you to go through challenges. These things require you to be built differently. These things require you to be isolated sometimes from friends and family, to gain new friends and family on your new journey, to create new networks with people. Your spirituality should lead to abundance. It should lead to networks of people that love you. It should lead to connections of people that want to bond and be around you. If it's not, then you're just engaged in magic on a lower law of attraction level. Law of attraction level, lighting candles and putting some bay leaves in them and putting some cinnamon and getting some money here and there. Anybody can do that. It doesn't take any, you could be the most fearful person in the world and have the lowest character in the world to make that happen. And you could tell that because who runs the world? Some of the most wickedest, lowest character, least empathetic, less childhood spirit having, because the children share with everybody. They don't care about your race, color, and creed. Tapping into that inner child, being childish but not childlike, that is becoming superhero, or superheru, or super Horus, or being in control of the hour, the Horus or the hour, which is where hour comes from, of your 24-hour day. But it is your day. It's your day. It's your time. It's your energy. Are you putting it toward people that don't make you feel good in your life? People that you don't enjoy being around for security, for some sort of status? Some of you have to switch different jobs, switch different careers. There's changes coming. What is your attitude? What is your approach? The struggle is tough. The struggle is hard. The struggle is difficult. But it is your approach. It is your energy. It is your passion. It is your creativity that will get you through that. And once you have a purpose and once you have a passion, these things will get you through anything that you go through in life, any struggle, any hardship. When you're connected to something, as Kwame Brown says, when you're connected, when you have a connection to your ancestors, when you have a connection to the spiritual work, when you have a connection to ritual, when you have connections to nature, when you're connected to something, then you will be able to get through any situation that occurs in life, any situation that occurs from here to now. But you got to be connected to something. And being connected, and this is no disrespect, to those who have family in Haiti and everything, you should be connected because you have family and things there, and you want to see what's going on and make sure they're okay. But if you don't have family there, if you don't have relatives there, you offer your condolences. I would not recommend you sending money to any organization. Send it to someone who maybe knows somebody. If you know somebody who knows somebody who has family, send it to them so they can send it over directly, right? And then you move across, you prepare for what if your city has earthquakes? What would I do? What if this situation is drastic? What if their situation drastically changes in my life where I can't work in this particular building? What do I do? This requires you to be off social media for a while. This requires you to not be watching TV for a while. This requires you to not be on your phone for a while. This requires you to sit in meditation. This requires you to sit in silence. This requires you to have a pen and a pad. This requires you to map out things and see your future reality the way you want to see it. Because if you're caught in the media all day, the media is going to tell you all the bad things in the world all day, every day. But a quiet mind, right? A mind that is quiet, a mind that is able to see where the thoughts are going, where the thoughts are coming from. A mind that is constantly sharpening itself and reconditioning itself. That is constantly tapping in the creative process that is your divine birthright. Do you not know that ye are gods and sons of the Most High? Did Jesus not say that you will do? One of the main things about Christianity that I always tell people is, okay, you believe in Jesus, and Jesus is this Most High thing, and we can't go any place without Jesus, and we can't get to heaven without Jesus. Then why does Jesus say that I will do things greater than He in the scriptures? That tells you who and what you are. But society doesn't tell us who and what we are. Society tries to keep us as low vibration as possible. They try to keep us caught in between opposites, black versus white, FBA versus non-FBA, rich versus poor, black woman versus black man, man versus woman, west side versus east side, down south versus up north, all these different polarities and all these different subcultures, this religion versus that religion. When we all breathe the same air, when we all drinking the same water, basically, when we all need food at the end of the day, when we all got to pee and poop. And this is not to say that we don't have our differences, right? But I just saw the squirrels with the birds just now, playing with each other. They wasn't beefing. It was very harmonious. Squirrels had their space, the birds had their space. And when the squirrel was getting too close to the birds would fly away, right? But they all had their space. And they knew they were all there foraging. They were all in the same areas foraging for food, which is basically what we do when we go to work. When we have our hustle, we're trying to eat. We're trying to eat big. But part of us being tapped into our animalistic nature, right? Because the goal of being a superhero is rising ultimately above our animalistic nature. And your animalistic nature is the nature that is caught up in your root chakra, caught up in fear, caught up in insecurity, caught up in worry, caught up in that red chakra, right? Look at the colors when you watch that Lizzo video with Cardi B. Look at the colors, how they play with red and blue a lot. Red and blue makes purple, by the way, your crown chakra. And that Cardi B Lizzo video is a big sex ritual. If you look at the iconography, the penises and vaginas, right? And this is something that they want, that children are going to be looking at. This is something that children are going to be viewing. I didn't even see the video. It came up as a commercial when I was watching another video. And I was like, oh shit, let me just watch it. This is the world that they want you to tap into, your carnal nature, sex, money, violence, protection, security. They want to keep you trapped in your animal. An animal, like animals wake up in the morning, go out to work. Their work is to get food. Your work is to get money to get food. They go out to work, right? At the end of the night, they chill. They go home and rest and do it again. They sleep, have sex, might bicker amongst each other, violence, right? They have sex, they go make their money, which is getting their food, right? And they go to sleep and they do it again. That's the basic animal. But us that are rising in our divinity, us that exist beyond the human, right? Beyond hues, beyond color frequency. Hue is a color. Hues dealing with colors. So beyond the frequencies of colors, when you embrace the rainbow, so to speak. No homo. When you embrace the rainbow, right? You understand that you're embracing all 7 of your chakras. You're embracing all the colors of the divine. And you're embracing the fact that you could create through all those different, all your deities have colors. All your deities have different colors. Yemaya is a totally different color than Ogun. Ogun is a different color than Orunmula. Oshun is a different color from Shango. All your deities have colors because these colors and these deities are tapped into different frequencies. Frequencies you can tap into enhance your creativity, and your creativity comes from the heart of your childhood. Comes from the heart of your inner child. That wanted for nothing but love, affection, fun, and the ability to create. And we have so much stress, and we've had so much trauma, so much that happened in the shadows of our lives that has taken us away from that. And the media exposure and the times have taken us away from that, have taken us away from that optimism, have taken us away from us knowing our true divinity, our true mindsets, and our true worth. And we're worth more than gold. Gold comes from the heart of a star. Gold comes from the heart of a star. And you are made of stardust, scientifically speaking. So you're worth more than gold. Please understand that you have the ability to create the life that you want. And if the life that you want is survival, if the life that you want is thriving, if the life that you want is self-mastery, the life that you want is success, if the life that you want is spiritual power and abilities, it is here for you. You have to study. You have to take the time to learn. You have to cut off the distractions, and you have to be less detached to the shit that's going on in the world that doesn't really affect you personally. things that don't really affect you personally. You have to look at it, empathize with it, but then move on. If it affects you personally, or if it's some way that you can help, right? Two things. If there's something that you like to be upset about a police shooting at this point, when you know you're not really going to do anything to help, makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? Marching, we know doesn't help, right? Talking about on social media doesn't really help. I mean, it does help spread awareness, but these cops are not really getting locked up like they should. We all know that. We all know there's corruption. Just the other day, there was a lady that got locked up for, I think she was stealing 10,000, right, or 40,000, and this white woman stole 400,000. Black woman stole 40,000. White woman stole 400,000, and the black woman went to jail, and the white woman got probation and fined. So we know these things still occur, right? We understand racism still exists. We understand that there's still battles to fight. But every superhero, again, needs a supervillain. And the fight is not going to be won via us posting and hashtagging. It's going to be won when we are all in tune with who and what we are, when we are all in tune with our divinity, when we are able to call on our spiritual team and our spiritual forces. That's why it's great that a lot of us are waking up and seeing the deception of the media and seeing the lies and seeing the manipulation and are being forced out of their slumber into waking up and learning. And the more that more of us tap into this and understand who and what we truly are, that we are truly gods, and we truly have the creative ability to create the life that we want. We don't have to bow down, and we don't have to give in, and we can make sacrifices that are necessary in order to ensure that we will not be controlled by the supervillain, that we will not be bullied by supervillains. The more of us that do that, the less of these things will happen. And as we see, the more of us that are doing that, the less of these things that are happening. This is just one big final push from the Matrix to see how many people will comply, to see how many people will go along, to see how many sheep will oblige. But we not having that. And hopefully you not having it. So stay out of fear, stay out of uncertainty, stay out of doubt. Look at these news stories, but don't be scared. Be prepared. Get you some water, get you some dry food, have a plan in case something happens where you know where to go. Have a go bag, have some solar chargers you can get on Amazon where you can recharge your stuff. There's even, if you believe this is going to be a water issue, there is my phone's going to die, but there's a what's the name of it? Shit, I can't remember the name, but you put it on a pot, boil water. I can't remember the name of it right now for some reason. You could plug that in your car just in case, so you can boil water if you need it. There's all sorts of things out there. There's all sorts of ways. Again, tap into your creativity, tap into your spirit team. They will let you know. You'll be guided, but you got to tap in. That's the only requirement. Thank you for listening. If you're here, please like, share, subscribe. Every superhero needs a supervillain. Never forget that. Never forget that these obstacles will be there. Never forget that life is always going to go on twists and turns. Don't let nobody separate you. Don't let nobody divide you, because you never know who you need in this life from any race, culture, or creed. You are electromagnetic. And if you are divine, you only attract divine beings and divine circumstances, and circumstances that are to your benefit. Everything in life has a lesson. And the goal of your life is to learn what those lessons are and to not repeat them. Peace to y'all again.